Our first author is, do you want me to hold it? Is Lynda Russell Gibson. She wrote this book, Beaver Bridge Park, and she's going to read this book to us and answer questions afterwards if you all have questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bonita. Well, thank you all for being here today. Hello, YouTube. We are back with Journey with a Single Parent, and we have a book reading today, and we have some beautiful young ladies here at the Fort Wayne Public Library. This is the Pontiac branch, and we're going to read the books today, and we also have another author, so I'm going to let her introduce herself and her book to you.
Hi, is it YouTube? I'm Lisa Jones. I am the mother of the author, and the title of the book is Sleeping Through the Storm. The author happens to be my beautiful daughter, Whitney Stewart Harvey, and the book is a pleasant book about sometimes that we get afraid of storms. So thank you. We'll be talking about the book and we'll be reading the book. And I'm so happy that you all decided to join us on this frightening, blistery cold day. Thank you for coming out.
With the weather the way it is, we are so blessed to have you here and to know that nothing will stop you unless you let it stop you. Isn't that right? We can do all things, and we can make the efforts, and you can do anything you set your mind to do. Did you know that? Well, I'm glad you know that. And so I'm glad you're here today. So, did you want to introduce, tell a little bit about your book first?
Yes, I want to tell a little bit about the author.
Okay, I'm going to get you a chair. You
Okay.
need a chair to sit?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. The title of the book, again, is Sleeping Through the Storm. And I'll tell you a little bit about the author. The author, once again, is my daughter. Whitney Harvey is a financial advisor for a family-owned company. She was born and raised right here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Her father is Clarence Stewart, and her mother is Lisa Jones. Whitney graduated from Northside High School, where she was the class president, multi-sports athlete, and an honor student. So she played about 5 sports, and she was a blanket winner, and she maintained nothing but A grades. She's a proud graduate of the University of Missouri, where she earned her bachelor degree in biology and competed on the track team with University of Missouri. Whitney has been married to her husband, R.J. Harvey, for 3 years, and they have 2 sons, my beautiful grandsons, Khalil Jackson Harvey and Caden Jonathan Harvey. In her free time, she enjoys running, playing volleyball, dancing, writing, and spending time with her family. Whitney's experience as a new parent has inspired her to write books based on actual events. Actual events, things that actually happen, not make up stuff, truthfully things. The ultimate goal is to excite young readers about getting into the habit of reading as much as possible. She looks forward to sharing her books with families everywhere and hopes that they will have fun and exciting ways to introduce religion to their children. So the title of the book again is Sleeping Through the Storm. It is about a vivid story about the joy and fear of a 3-year-old little boy experience when he spends time in his room. He learns about the different seasons by looking outside his window all year round. Cal ends up getting an unexpected life lesson from his parents after being frightened in the middle of the night.
That sounds like a good book, doesn't it? Because every time the weather changes, we can look outside and we can see the different seasons, and we can see all of the changes of nature and what God is doing. And I never thought to write a story and explain that to children, because sometimes that can be, especially with all of the things we hear on the news, that can sometimes be a pretty frightening thing, huh? But we know that God has a plan in everything, and that there's a reason for the seasons in our life. So not only the weather seasons, but your seasons. You're getting older. So every time you go from being a little child to turning into a teenager to turning into an adult. That's a season.
It is a season.
That's a season.
And it's also a season when you go from kindergarten to first grade to second grade, and next you're probably in fifth grade. That's a season.
Did you want to read?
I want to start reading the story. You ready, girls? Sleeping Through the Storm by Whitney Stewart Harvey. Oh, and the author signed this one. Sleeping Through the Storm. Now make sure you listen because I've got some bookmarkers over there. And once you know the answers, I'm going to give you a bookmarker. Hardly anybody has those. Illustrated by Lyle Jake Salam. And I am having a hard time with that last name, and I think I did it this time. Sometimes the authors write books and they like to dedicate them to people. This author, my daughter, said, I would like to dedicate this book to my handsome sons for changing my life for the better each and every day. I would like to thank my husband for encouraging me to publish my book. Also, I want to thank my parents for their support and enthusiasm. Very nice for authors to do that. In my room, I love to play in the night and the day. My baby brother watches me giggles as I jump on the bed, dance, and wiggle. There's the baby Caden. There's baby Caden. He's like, look at my brother. Mom and Dad play with me too. We read, build blocks, color, and glue. It's so much fun to look out my window through the seasons. I can see the sun and feel the warmth. Cal loves to play with his cars. And there's Mom and Dad. Watch the snow fall so I can count the flakes. Count the flakes with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we know there's 7 snowflakes. Can you see?
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 5, 6. Yeah.
It's 7. We all agree? Okay.
Yep.
And smell the rain while the window is raised.
I don't like to smell rain.
You don't like the smell of rain? I love it. It smells so fresh. The only time I do not feel joy is when I hear the loud and crackling noise. The window in my room lights up bright. The storm makes me jump out of my sleep, and I squeeze my blanket and I hold my pillow tight. This is such a very scary night. Look at him. He's grabbing his blanket and look at his little animals. That used to scare me when I was little. Not the thunder, but the lightning.
Yep.
You too, lightning? Okay.
I didn't know that. I remember when I was little.
Okay. When it becomes more than I can bear, I hop on my bed and sprint to my parents' room as fast as I can because I'm scared. He's gone, and I mean sprint.
He jumped out.
He's getting it. Look at him. He's getting out of that room. I think he forgot 2 animals.
Looks like they're trying to follow.
They're scared too. My dad says, Cal, it's late. Go back to bed. But Dad, I cannot sleep without pulling the covers over my head. Dad explained, God created thunder to shake the raindrops from the cloud, and the lightning strikes first to help guide the raindrops to the ground.
He did.
It's up in the middle of the night. Dad's getting up and explaining it to him. Mom says we need rain to help things grow, like the beautiful flowers we see and vegetables we sow. The rain also grows in the grass and trees, help nourish the animals from which we feed. Look at this. See, these are thoughts. Ideals are coming in his head. Mom's giving him thought. That light bulb's coming on. Dad said, you see, son, God connects all things in life perfectly. We may not always understand, but faith, and trusting even those things which we cannot see. Walk back to your room quietly and climb into your bed. Now you understand there is no need to pull the covers over your head. Do you think he feels comfort now that he talked to his mom and dad? Raise your hands if you think he feels comfort now that he talks to his mom and dad. Okay? Sometimes we just need that comfort, that reassurance from our parents. From now on, if I'm ever afraid, I think about the wonderful things that God has made. The end. Who was the little baby in the book? What was his name?
I forgot.
Forgot? Okay. What did Mom say to Cal when she started? What did she say to him?
We need to water to make the flowers grow and vegetables grow.
That's right. We need to water. We need to water from the rain to make the garden grow so we can have food. We need food. What did Cal's dad say to him? What did he say? Start with that F. What was that F thing he said? Say it again, sweetheart.
First, that God created the thunder to lead the raindrops.
And he also said, have what?
Have faith.
Have faith. Have faith. Have faith in what God is doing. If God is providing rain, we must need it, right? It's God's providing rain so we can have food. And what was that last thing that Cal said at the end of the story? The conclusion. What did he say? I'll give you a little clue. What did he say? He said, I don't have to.
Worry.
I don't have to be
Afraid.
Why? You don't have to be afraid now. Why doesn't he have to be afraid now?
Because his mom and dad talked to him.
Go ahead, you tell him. Why doesn't he have to be afraid, sweetheart?
Because he thought about what
Keep coming.
he thought about what the mom and dad.
Who had he talked to?
His mom and dad.
His mom and dad. Good job. Good job. And I just want to ask one last question. If we wanted to have a different conclusion, what conclusion to end would you come up with? Can anybody think of a different conclusion? A different ending?
That I don't have to be afraid. I just jump right back in my bed.
Girl, you said it. That's right. I just jumped as quick as I jumped in my bed. I'll jump back in. Thank you all. Great listening skills. Remember, and this author wants me to share this with you. If she can do it, you can do it. You can do anything. She just had a baby, came home, wrote a book, and just said, oh, her husband came home and he said, that's really good. And then she published it. You can do it. You can do it, and you can do it. Thank you so much. Thank you. And two, we have some available at the library. Make sure that you come and check them out. We have them in the paperback, and we also have them at the library and Sleeping in the Storm in a hardback. And they are also at your East Branch on Paulding Road. I've seen the book there too. Hanson Castle, yes. Okay.
And
Now we're ready.
we've got another book, and this book is called Beaver Bridge Park.
Beaver Bridge Park.
Beaver Bridge Park. Okay? And this story is about a beaver family, and they live in the forest park in North America. And they have made friends with everybody because, you know, beavers are very busy animals. And they build their homes on the water.
They call dams.
She said they go on.
Yes, they're called dams. And they build for not only themselves, but all
For
of the
other
creatures.
animals?
That's right. all of the creatures that live underneath the water with them. So we're going to read today. Now, I wrote this book and I did the illustrations, so they're not really as beautiful as the other book, but I think they get a great message across because they're animals and they're living and working together.
Did you know it's a bug that can walk on water?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
yeah. We know too.
Okay. Well, now I'm going to read my dedication, okay? This book is dedicated to the Father Jehovah, that's God, and his Son Jesus, and the Holy Spirit who work together and create communication, confidence, courage, peace, love, the great being love, for all their creation and human beings. Great Father God, Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, be blessed. And I wrote this to my parents, Robert Russell Jr., and his quote is, "Love you always, that means you." That's what my dad used to say to me. That means you. You can love everybody, but you've got to love yourself too. And then my mom's quote is, "You can accomplish anything you set your mind to do. What are you doing with the time God has given you?" So my son, Brian, when he was a little boy, he helped me go over this story. He used to write, did you have a contest called Young Authors? In school, there'll be a contest for you. It's called Young Authors, and they used to write stories. And so my son and I would sit and write stories together. So his quote, what he used to always say to me, and still does, is, "Jesus be with you, Mom." Before I would leave my front door, he'd always say, "Jesus be with you." So I thanked him, and I thank all of God's children. That's you. Because I want you to love yourselves always, and you can accomplish anything you set your mind and your heart to do. Love your neighbor as yourself. And to the child of God that wants to make this world a better place, and the children of God who don't know Jesus yet, God bless you always and in every way. In loving memory, my son says, of his grandfather. Okay. Now, if I run out of breath, I'm going to speak as loud as I can, but I don't do too good. I get out of breath. Okay, so let's start the story, okay? You want to do that? Okay. Ricky Raccoon, his mom and dad, are gentle, loving, and friendly animals that live at Beaver Bridge Park in North America. Ricky Raccoon's best friends are the Beaver family. Everyone loves the beavers because they work hard day and night to keep the ponds full of water, the grasslands green, the ground soil rich and fertile for all the animals and the people. It sounds like you've studied beavers a little bit, huh? Whenever the beavers heard running water in the pond, let me use this. The entire beaver family, dad, mom, and the kits, began to make strong the lodge and dams where they lived, stopping the running water. They worked and protected the human roads from water damage. Beavers supply food and shelter for many animals that live under the lodge and all the habitation around Beaver Bridge Park. That's okay. I just have the weather makes my throat. Mm-hmm.
Did you take pictures?
Yes, you know what I did? If you want to begin your book, I took pictures and then I used the illustrator and I put the animals on top of the pictures. So we got great background. Isn't that a good idea?
Yes.
Yeah. These are real places here in Fort Wayne too, that I used in pictures. Okay, so it was summer. The Beaver kids named Cedar, Poplar, and Willow were only 1 year old, and they weren't old enough to leave the safety of the home by themselves. But Ricky was old enough to leave home and seek food for himself. Who was Ricky? He was the raccoon, right? But he was old enough to go out and forage for himself. So the kids loved and admired Ricky Raccoon as a brother. Beavers work at night like raccoons, but their eyesight is not as sharp as the raccoon's eyesight. So this was the families together having a wonderful summer picnic. Okay.
Where's the raccoon?
Here's a raccoon right here.
Oh.
And that's his dad, and that's his mom, and she's sharing with the Beaver family wood because the beavers loved wood. They loved it so much they named their children Cedar, Poplar, and Willow. Those are trees. And they loved the wood, so they named their children after the trees. The young Beaver kids and Ricky Raccoon go to school, and they learn from Beaver Dad. He was an expert builder when making homes on the water for himself and many animals. He could repair problems overnight. Ricky and all the animals were amazed at his speed in the water and his wisdom when correcting problems. Poplar Beaver told Ricky, "Dad is a skilled building engineer, and I will be too when I grow up." Ricky asked Poplar, "Hey Poplar, how long do you have before you are all grown up?" Willow Beaver, while chewing on a branch like a big toothpick, he said, "I'm not sure." And then Cedar, his brother, wallowed over with a bucket full of rocks and mud. Cedar wasn't very fast out of the water, but excited about growing up. He said with a big smile and wearing a hat like his dad, "We will be 2 years old, Rick Rat, my friend." So beavers, when they turn 2 years old, they're considered all grown up. It's a lot different than us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just then Mama called from the lodge, "Kids, you have beds to make, chores to do. Ricky, come join us for lunch." The beavers slid down their mudslide and into their home. The friends stayed close to the beavers' home because 2 animals that lived in the park were angry with the beavers because they chewed and chopped the trees. They were mad and uncertain about Ricky because he would eat and gather all the food at night before they could wake for breakfast in the morning. Ricky really liked to eat food, and he could eat all day long. So it was time for Ricky's nap, and he fell asleep, remembering his mom and his dad and the big picnic baskets that they shared before he left home. Ricky was all on his own. Good thing he had the Beaver family and his friends, isn't it? We're never alone when we have our friends. During lunch that bright summer afternoon, the beavers and Ricky Raccoon ate and were satisfied and happy until Wilhelmina Woodpecker was busy at what she does best, sticking her loud, noisy beak quickly into other animals' trees before taking the time to find out if anyone might be hurt by that constant loud pecking. That's what woodpeckers do. Other birds have melody, but you know what the woodpeckers, they're percussionists. They like the drums. That's what they do. So Miss Squirrel squeaked out as loud as she could, "Stop that noise. I'm trying to count my nuts for winter, and you're making me lose count, Wilhelmine. Are you knocking on my tree to say hello, or are you becoming like those pesky beavers? No, 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 said Wilhelmina. I moved here to get away from them chewing down our trees and the raccoons moving into my comfortable nest, squawked the woodpecker rudely at the squirrel's face. I'm trying to find some bugs to eat, but that raccoon has gotten up early again and ate up all the worms. Stop your nuttiness, Miss Squirrel said to her, and help me find food. Just look at them. Here they come now. Some people, call those raccoons burglars because they wear masks.
What? They do?
Yes, and they call them thieves too. That's what Miss Wilhelmina said. Poplar Beaver and Ricky Raccoon were laughing and playing in the beaver's yard, happy after having a good lunch that Mother had fixed them, and the two friends were collecting rocks when suddenly Miss Squirrel climbed down the tree, waved her beautiful bushy tail at Poplar Beaver and said, "Ugly." She looked at Ricky and said, "Smugly. Look at you two chopping down trees and picking up all the food." Ricky and Poplar were not sure what to say. Hello? We're playing. Would you like to pick up some rocks with us? Would you like to play? Poplar asked, and he gave her a big smile. We just had lunch, Ricky said, but thank you anyway. I couldn't eat another bite. Well, I haven't had any food, and I'm hungry, said Miss Wilhelmina from the top of the tree. What are you going to do about that, Mr. Popular with Everybody Beaver? Wilhelmina knew that the other animals did not like the songs she sang with her beak. She did not understand why her songs were not popular like the other birds in Beaver Bridge Park. Poplar, the beaver said. My name is Poplar, like the tree. The baby beaver said it sadly, and the beaver and the raccoon, they were hurting their spirits because they were having such a good time that day, and then all of a sudden someone was very, very mean to them. But he knew. Ricky wanted to whistle for his mother. When raccoons get scared, they whistle. And so he wanted to whistle for his mother, but he knew that he was on his own this summer and expected to make good choices and the right decision. Mother Beaver sensed trouble was while designing her garden, and Dad Beaver saw them coming and said, "I thought you fellas were going back to get some rocks." He saw that something was wrong, and so he made a big splash with his tail on the water to warn the other kids that danger was near. Moms and dads, they have a sixth sense. They have a sense. They know when something's wrong. So they'll ask you, did you have a good day today? And they want you to tell them, oh, yes, but something happened today. So you always talk with your parents, okay? Because they know when you're happy and they know when you're sad. Why the sad faces, fellas? Dad asked the beavers and the raccoon. Ricky sat down on the dam and he said, now I know why they call that woodpecker real mean. Because she's really mean. What happened? Mother Beaver said. Poplar said, let's see. What did happen? Oh, I don't know. Something went wrong. What did I do wrong? And then he began to whine and cry. Ricky was so sad in his heart for his friend that he wanted to cry too, but he dried his eyes and he stayed strong for the both of them because he knew that the Beaver family was always strong for everyone else in the park. So the Beaver family sat down. I didn't show you those pictures, did I?
Nope.
I'm sorry. See, the beaver was crying. And the mother, she was designing her garden, but she's making something beautiful, but she said, there's something wrong here. And beaver dads, when they sense that something's wrong, they splash they hit the, their tails are like big paddles, and they hit the water, and all the other beavers come near. So they were all gathering because something just was not right. The beaver family sat down with Ricky and listened closely to what he had told them. Dad Beaver said, Mother, I think it's time we went and talked with Rilla Mean and Mrs. Squirrel. Now you walk with us, kids, and you too, Ricky. Come on, this is a misunderstanding, and we've got to come to an agreement, and an agreement today. If we are neighbors, we must not let the sun go down and remain angry with each other. Ephesians 4:26 says, we must live together in peace, and our spirit must be in harmony with God in the park every day. So the beaver families, they weren't just good people. They were people that trusted God and Jesus.
How do they know about God?
Well, they were created by God, just like humans are created. And in our own way, God builds a relationship with us. He touches our hearts. And in the same way, he touches the animals' hearts too. Now, we're different than animals. We're not animals, okay? And when I show you these pictures of these beavers and the raccoons, we are not animals. We are human beings. We are men and women of God. And you hold your head up and you know that I am a creation of God. I am human. And these creations of God are beautiful too, but they're animals. Okay? So
Mermaids?
Hmm?
Did he create mermaids?
Well, he wanted them to know that he loved them. God loves the animals just like he loves people. But he's made us different. He's made us different. I want to show you something. The animals in the park, what are these? These are round balls, right? These are round balls. They look the same, but they're different. They're not. Because this one says, together we make a family. We love our family. We treasure our family. I love my mom. I love my dad, my sisters, and my brothers. And what's this one say? This one says, Jesus, create peace, sibling love. What is sibling love? That's your brothers and your sisters. So these balls look alike, but they're very different. Okay? So you're all human. We're all in the same family. We look different, but we're all the same in God's eyes, okay? So can you remember that? So when you see someone that looks different than you, they look different, but their heart can be hurt, and their heart can be full of joy, just like yours. You can come in. Okay? So we've got to remember, we don't want to hurt anyone with our words. We want to say things that are kind. And understand that everyone can be hurt by the things we say if we decide to say things that aren't kind.
I was teased at my old school.
Were you?
Huh?
Well, you know what happens when you get teased? That means that person is afraid of you. And so they might act like they're big and tough, but they're being mean so that, just like Wilhelmina, she was upset because no brother birds didn't like her song. She wasn't a mean bird. She was just a misunderstood bird. And when people are teasing you, they're misunderstood. There's something going on with them. It's not you. Okay? So you hold your head up and you smile and you tell them, you know what? No matter what you do to me, I know that you can be a better person than you're acting. And then you go and you find a teacher, or you find your mom and dad, and you let them know there's something wrong with that person. Can you talk with them and make them feel better? Okay? Don't you take that into your heart like Wilhelmina did.
That's why when everybody try to pick a fight with me, I just walk away.
And you know why you do that? Because you know that you're loved. And you know that there's love in your heart. And your mom loves you, your dad loves you, your family loves you, your church loves you. But sometimes kids that are being mean and bullied, they don't know that. There's nobody to tell them that. There's nobody to tuck them in at night like Cal's parents did. So you have to understand that there's a reason why they act like that. So you don't associate with that. You go and you find a teacher quickly, okay? Or you find your parent when you get home and you tell them what's going on. So long story short, the Beaver family went and they talked with Wilhelmina. And they talked with the squirrel. And the squirrel, she felt bad after she had talked to her friends that way, because she didn't really feel that way. She was just saying what she had heard from Wilhelmina. She didn't really feel that way. So she said she was sorry, and she apologized. And they told her about Jesus and that God loved her. And you know what she said? I knew somebody loved my song, but I didn't know it was God. God, the creator of everything, he loves my percussions and my noise when it seems like nobody else does. And her heart changed. And she and all of the animals could live together in the park as friends now, because she knew that she was loved. And that's what God wants you to do. When you have someone that's teasing you and mistreating you, you tell them, you know what? No matter what you do to me, you're not going to change my heart. Because I like you anyway. And if they're violent towards you and you can't speak to them at that time, just run. Just go. And somebody will be able to touch them with Jesus and change their hearts one day, okay? And you pray for that person. Pray for them and at night and ask God to change the way that they're seeing things.
I know the Lord's Prayer.
When you pray the Lord's Prayer, when you finish that, you say, Lord, and I'm praying this for whoever needs to know you. Because there are many children of God that know him, but there are a lot of children of God that don't know him yet. Okay? So now, what do you want to be when you grow up?
A person who pretends they're mermaid.
Oh, what do you want to be?
A doctor.
A doctor. We need so many doctors. We need good doctors.
I like mermaids.
Say that again.
I like mermaids.
Okay. What do you want to be?
A judge.
A judge. Oh, we need good judges too. We need good doctors and good judges and
Entertainers.
yes, everything. So listen, I want you to take these balls home with you, okay? And I want you to tell Mom, you know, the lady at the library told me to think about who I want to be when I grow up and to talk about it with you. I want you to start to plan today as young people who you are and what you want to be. And when you sit down with Mom and Dad, you write that you want to be a doctor on here, okay? And you write that you want to be a judge. And you write that you want to be an entertainer, okay? And then put these balls on your shelf at home. And whenever you see that ball, remember who you want to be, okay? Do you have basketballs at home?
I got a basketball and football.
Write on that basketball and that football what you want to be. I want to be a doctor. So when you start to play and enjoy yourself, you'll realize soon that you'll grow into the enjoyment of being a doctor too, okay? You'll see that you can enjoy that, your work that you do every day.
I wrote it already on my football.
You wrote it on your football? Well, that's good. So you keep those, okay? Because God planned, He made a plan for you. And He wants you to remember what it is you want. He wants you to say this with me. Always be honest, be kind, keep your promise, smile, say please and thank you, be grateful, laugh, share, do your best, work hard, forgive. Can you see that?
Can't see it.
Let me move this stuff. Forgive and forget. Love, be happy, say your prayers, show grace, and speak truth. Okay? All right. We thank you today. And we thank you, YouTube. You be blessed, and as always, Jesus be with you, even until the end of the age. Amen.